generations, this peaceful island has been home to our family. But beyond our reef, a great danger is coming.
The story is, it actually takes place 2,000 years ago in a time when voyaging has stopped. And it takes place in kind of the central Pacific, at a place where the voyaging actually had stopped for 1,000 years. And it's the story of a teenage girl named Moana, the daughter of a chief, who grows up on this village where they haven't voyaged for 1,000 years. And she ends up going on a quest to save her people, where she teams up with the demigod Maui. The two of them together form a friendship and save the world.
Legend tells of a hero who will journey to find the demigod Maui. And together, they will save us all.
I was intrigued by the whole area of the South Pacific. I had never actually been beyond Hawaii, but I had read novels that were set there, and I saw paintings that were painted there, and it seemed like just such a beautiful landscape. I'd never been there, and I thought, let me dig a little deeper. So I started reading Polynesian mythology, which I had no idea what was in it, and I discovered this whole rich vein of storytelling and characters, just these bigger-than-life stories, myths, and in particular, the story of Maui.
Maui!
A boat! A boat!
We actually had to actually go visit these places.
Yes, we were forced, I tell you, forced to spend 2 or 3 weeks in some of the most beautiful islands in the world, in Tahiti and Moorea and Samoa and Fiji. And our development department did an amazing job of setting up a trip that was not a boondoggle and that was not a bunch of drinks with little umbrellas in them, but actually talking to people connected to the culture, really getting a deeper sense of what it was all about there, what their values were, what they considered important, what it was like to live on an island, the traditions that built the islands and themselves. We heard this phrase, you've got to know your mountain. If you don't know your mountain, you don't know who you are. And your whole lineage and your background is important. You carry it with you. So we took all that stuff to heart, really.
We, shapeshifter, demigod of the wind and sea, I am
Hero of men.
What?
It's actually Maui, shapeshifter, demigod of the wind and sea, hero of men. I interrupted from the top, hero of men. Go.
We learned a lot about the history of navigation and the migration of the South Pacific, and what an incredible accomplishment that was thousands of years ago, before the European explorers and before the Vikings. They used this process called dead reckoning to find their way throughout the South Pacific. And
no instruments. They had to sail using the stars and the currents, and they managed to pick their way across. And a great feat, like one of the greatest nautical feats in human history, really. And we didn't know that before we went there. And we really, when we came back, we refashioned the story to highlight that they were the world's greatest, nautical wayfinders. The voyagers. That we built the whole story around that.
I'm not going on a mission with some little girl.
This is my canoe, and you will journey to different...
The character Moana, really, it was Ron who came up with the idea of, well, what if we had a girl named Moana, which means ocean, as the heart of the story.
So yeah, we based our new story around the idea of a young teenage girl who has this sense of voyaging in her blood. It's in her DNA, but she lives in a world where they don't do that anymore. And she has to come to terms with that and figure out kind of who she is and what she's meant to do, what she's meant to be, and it kind of took off from there.
Yeah, we really wanted to take advantage of the fact that we learned that there was this 1,000-year gap where they had been voyaging in the Pacific, and for 1,000 years those transoceanic voyages stopped around the area of Samoa, Fiji, and Tonga, and still to this day, historians and archaeologists don't know really why they stopped and then why they resumed. But we thought, what if we could work that into our story, that they are not going on, and that our heroine could be one of the key reasons why they get going again. And so it just seemed like an interesting and cool way to weave historical fact with our sort of created world.
Did not see that coming.
The ocean is a friend of mine.
First, we've got to go through a whole ocean of bad. Kakamora.
Kako, what? They're kinda cute.
Maui, when Moana meets him, is kind of having a rough time, and he's lost his magical fishhook. He's been defeated by a monster that was actually more powerful than he was. He's had to come to terms with all these things, and he needs some restoration. He needs someone to kind of help bring him back and help him find himself again.
Yeah, there's a quality we heard about in the Pacific called your mana, and your mana is your power, your chi, and in some ways Maui, when we meet him in the story, his mana is a little off. He doesn't quite have the mana that he had. And through the course of the story, Moana helps him kind of regain that the thing that he lost.
Moana! I got your back. It's Maui time! Really? Blow dart in my butt cheek.
The idea came that we could actually make the ocean a character in the movie. We could bring it to life, show how it's thinking, show its emotions. It's a little like the carpet in Aladdin, but much bigger, much wetter, I think. But so the ocean is a kind of overriding character in this whole movie. It has a plan. It has something that it wants, and it chooses Moana. Moana is the chosen one.
We're going to the realm of monsters?
Don't worry, it's a lot farther down than it looks.
As Dwayne became more involved with the movie and Auli'i, their personalities are so dynamic and fun and entertaining that the story and the two characters actually took on, I think, qualities of both of them, and that really infused a lot of the fun dynamics in terms of their relationship.
Yeah, when we started, Maui was so reluctant to go on this voyage, and he was kind of a curmudgeon and all that, and to make a curmudgeon appealing and charismatic and likable is a real challenge. But once Dwayne started recording and really brought him to life, and even when he was sort of bragging, it was so much fun, and yet he also could have this vulnerability under all that. So under the swagger was sort of this tenderer side to him, and Dwayne was just a marvel at capturing that. And Auli'i, too, she just has these reserves, and Auli'i Cravalho, who's doing the voice of Moana, is herself fearless. Just diving into this whole enterprise is crazy for someone who's 14 years old to jump into this and be acting with somebody like Dwayne Johnson. It's been amazing.